Today we're going to attempt to take this fender off. There's a couple of bolts here. You have to take this cowl cover off. You have to take your wipers off. There's 2 bolts here. There's several bolts on the inside of the fender. So once I get those out, I will let you see where they're at, because it's kind of hard to get to with the camera. But we'll see if we can get this thing off. So while I start taking these bolts out, you go ahead and watch this intro. To remember is the shims that go in behind the fender. Like this one doesn't have one, but this one does. It has one. So just remember to put those back so your doors and stuff will line up. So I'll continue to get these out. All right, so when you pull your bolts out, make sure you bag and tag everything so you know exactly where it goes back. If you don't have any bags, then you can also put your bolts back in the same holes. That way you don't lose them. I hit these with some PB Blast liquid wrench a couple of days ago. And they were still a little hard to get out. But I broke the head off of one of these just because it was stubborn. So, I mean, that's something we're just gonna have to pull out later. So we got the hood loose, so we'll pull the hood off and we'll get to getting this fender, rest of this fender off. Sometimes you gotta take drastic measures. That thing is smoking. And that's just from the penetrating oil. We're not on fire. So I'll finish getting this off and we'll be back. We finally got the fender loose. And you can see all the crap that came out of it. There's 2 bolts down behind here that you have to unloose. There's these 2 bolts, and then once I pull the fender off, we'll look at the bolts that's on the actual inside fender well. Just like that, the bolt is out, or the fender is out. One down, 1 to go. All right, so to take the fender off, there's 2 bolts here. There's 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here. There was a bolt here in this big hole. There's 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 on the bottom down here. On the bottom down there. And then there's 2 bolts here to hold the fender in. I took this bolt out by mistake, so it's actually this bolt, and it goes from the back side. And that's how you get your fender off. So for the fender well, there are several bolts for it too, but what we'll do is we'll get the other fender off, and then we'll worry about the fender wells themselves. All right, after a little persuasion and a whole lot of bolts being removed, we have the passenger fender loose, so we should be able to pop it out now, just like this. And we'll take this outside. So now we'll work on these inner fender wells. I'll see how you get those out, and we'll be back. We got the inner fender out loose. It was a 1/5/8 bolt holding it in, which it should have been like 3 or 4, but it is what it is. Just like that. Another piece to go out to the pile. Now we'll work on the driver's side fender well. Then the next thing will be the core support. Big difference when you soak these in some PB Blast or liquid wrench, whatever your favorite. So there's that one bolt there. As you can see, there should be one more bolt up, a couple bolts up front, and that passenger or driver side fender should come off. So let me find out which bolts these are, and I'll be back. All right, so there was a bracket holding these wires, or the screw holding these wires in right here. And again, all these bolts that hold the fender in are 1/2 inch, minus the one that holds the fender to the cab right here. It's 5/8, but this bracket's in the way for the steering, so I had to loosen it so we can kind of push it over. That way we can get this out and this whole fender will come out. And then there's 3 bolts that go under the radiator support. One here, one here, and one here. You gotta get to them from underneath. And then this whole thing, as you can see, will come out. So I will get this out and we'll be back. And on the radiator, what I've done so far is I've loosened the bottom radiator hose, which is right here. I have it draining in a bucket down there. I also am draining the radiator itself. I've taken the brackets off that hold the shroud on and the actual radiator itself. So we'll get those out, and then we'll get this core support out, and we'll go from there. I know I'm not showing you a whole bunch, but I don't want to bore you, and I'm trying to make this as short as possible. So we're getting ready. We just removed the fan shroud. Now we're going to remove the radiator. It should be 2 clips that hold it down here, but looks like they're dry rotted or whatever. So the radiator should be able to just pull straight up and out, just like that. And we have a new radiator for our LS motor, so we'll take this one and we'll put this one outside. Another part for the scrap bin. For the core support bolts, as you can see, they're really bad. The rubber's all dry rotted, and hopefully we can get this nut off without tearing up stuff. So let me figure out how we're gonna do that, and we'll be back. now we'll go to the other side. Of our wires unhooked from our headlights, our turn signals, our horn. This is for our battery. Got our bolts out. We will need a new battery box. As you can see, this one is trashed. We unhooked our overflow bottle from our radiator. We probably will reuse this core support. We'll probably just clean it up a little bit and go from there. So now it will come out just like this, and we'll take it outside to the pile. That's a whole lot of sheet metal. All right, YouTube, we made some great progress today. I know this is a short video, but we were just trying to get the front clip off. We got some stuff disconnected on the actual engine itself. We got the heater hoses disconnected. We got some of the wiring that goes to the starter and inside the cab disconnected. We got to disconnect our steering link, our throttle linkage. And then we got to disconnect our steering. And then we have to go underneath the truck and take out the drive shaft, disconnect the speedometer cable and a couple other things on the transmission, and then we'll be able to pull this engine out. And that'd be one more thing that we can check off our list that has to get done, and then we'll be ready to try to pull the cab off after that. So until next time, appreciate you hanging out with me. Work, work, work. But we're going to get it done. As always, thank you for subscribing. Stick around to see what comes up next. Until next time, peace, one love.